Everyone, it's Marabelle Blue with a new Marabelle Blue Unfiltered, and we're talking about the reunion of Married at First Sight. But before we begin, if you are new to my channel, welcome. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification. That way, you will get notified when I upload a new video. Because I am a person who does not upload weekly. I have a very crazy schedule between doing videos and writing articles. It can get a little outrageous. I also want to mention that I wrote a new article on marabelleblue.com. It is about relationships and why they fail, and why social media should not be your personal therapist. I've seen a lot of stuff being floated around. One particular person who's talking about, why men don't want to get married. I mean, like, stupidity at its finest. And I talk about that in detail. Why we shouldn't be listening to people who are bitter about why they can't find that one, and how we should all be protective of our relationships if you are in one. So go look out for that article on marabelleblue.com, and I will be putting the link down below on this video. So let's get started, because I don't want to be here all day. Literally, it's probably going to be the shortest video ever. So let's talk about the reunion. The reunion aired on Wednesday night. I have to say, I was surprised about the couples who didn't stay together. And I'm not surprised about the ones that just went back and forth. So let's get started with Katina and Elijahuan. So, heading up the reunion was our favorite clown, Kevin Frazier, asking, of course, the stupid questions like he always does. And the first couple he brought up was Katina and Elijahuan. Not surprised that they stayed together. As the weeks had droned on, and I didn't blog about what happened in between the reunion and beforehand, that it seemed that Katina and Elijahuan really wanted to make their relationship work and stay together. Of course, I had issues with Elijahuan, the way he communicated to Katina. Very commanding, very narcissistic, talking about the qualities. At least he put it like the qualities. It was more like demands, like she has to cook, she has to have a meal. How are you going to have children and work and finish school at the same time? There were just a lot of different things that, well, personally made me feel uncomfortable. And with everything that's going on in this day and age, I'm sure it would make any woman feel uncomfortable to feel like her body is owned by somebody else and not by yourself, right? My body, my choice. It seems that Katina and Elijahuan are really in love. And for whatever is going on behind the cameras, they seem to have some kind of mutual understanding. Maybe Elijahuan, and I'm just giving him the benefit of the doubt, okay? Because I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to talk about what narcissistic tendencies he has, if he's being abusive in his narcissistic attitude. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm just speaking from experience of what I endured, having a person around who was narcissistic and abusive and gaslighting, etc. I don't want to get into it because, like I said, I want to keep this video short and simple and to the point. For whatever the reason or the issues or the problems that they are sorting out, they are going to therapy, which I think is a good idea. Hopefully, Dr. Pepper and Dr. Viviana are not their doctors, and they're actually going to a therapist that's outside of all of that nonsense if they really, really want to seriously work on their relationship and communication. I've always said communication is the key, it's the value that makes a relationship work. We're not mind readers. So, in order for anything to transpire, for anything to work, I mean, just keeping it simple, we have to communicate with one another. Even the simplest things. Babe, I'm coming home late. That way, the other person knows where the other person is. It's not a matter of control, regardless of anybody would think. It's just a matter of common courtesy in the relationship. I wish Katina and Elijahuan a lot of luck. Like I said, they both seem like they're really in love with each other. They really want to make things work out. And who knows? I mean, think about it. The show aired, I guess it was taped in 2021, because if I recall correctly, there was a cup that Steve and Noy had held together, I guess, the day that they got married, and was in 2021. They were watching along with everybody else, seeing the tweets, seeing the feedback. And I know that Elijahuan must have read many tweets of hate towards him, the way he spoke and carried on to Katina. And who knows, maybe that was the wake up call that made him turn around and say, I shouldn't be talking to any woman this way. Again, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt, because I believe that with effort, people can change if they want to change. Change doesn't just happen by osmosis, it really doesn't. You have to want to change, and not change for somebody else, but change for yourself, for the betterment of yourself. So who knows? Maybe it will work out. In a year from now or 2 years from now, we'll see Katina and Elijahuan becoming parents. Who knows? Let's move on to the next couple, Jasmina and Mike. So before we get into Jasmina and Mike, I have to interject and talk about, why were Chris and Alyssa there? They're not a couple. They got a divorce after 10 days. We're still hearing about Alyssa being a good person, even though she's seen how people were making fun of her being a good person. And I'm sorry. I think I'm going to go back to my original stance about Chris. I don't think he's a good person either. He doesn't seem like a catch. His friends are kind of like assholes, especially that one that he was playing a game with. He's also another jerk. So even though Alyssa is made fun of for being a good person, I feel like she made an escape. For whatever reason she felt inside about Chris, I have to sit back and validate what she's saying, in the sense that we have to respect what we feel in our gut. And if it doesn't feel right, then you shouldn't follow along. Our gut never fails us. If something doesn't feel right, if it doesn't feel genuine or comfortable, just go with it, because at the end of the day, that gut may save you, that feeling may save you from future pain later on. And while granted, it wasn't cool that both of them made fun of each other, like the guy was making fun of the fact that his friend was making fun of the fact that she went to like some kind of a psychic, and she was anticipating who was going to be waiting for her down the aisle and the whole tattoo thing. I have an issue with that too. I read tarots, and tarot for me is a guide to help people. If they want to make a decision about something, if they're confused about something, it's just a guide. It's not something that really predicts the future, even though I do believe that there are some people who have a genuine gift. For anyone to make fun of people in that regard, I take it personal, and I still stand by what I think, that his friend is an asshole. So there. Now over to Jasmina and Mike. Jasmina and Mike seem to have a captivating, a real potential to be a healthy couple. Granted that the beginning wasn't healthy, to say the least. Mike held back a lot. He wasn't allowing himself to communicate and be vulnerable. Jasmina has made comments about the way he has spoken to her off camera, that she didn't like it and didn't appreciate it. And sadly, for whatever reason that is, there isn't footage of that, because we would have seen it probably in this reunion, but there is a part 2 coming next week. Regardless of what happens, spoiler alert, if you have not watched this yet, Jasmina and Mike are not together. And I had a feeling that they were not together only because of the look in her eyes while they sat very close together. And one of the things that Kevin had mentioned, like they were really comfortable sitting together. And one of the things that Jasmina says is that they're friends. And you know what? That's all well and good. They may have not started on the right foot, but they developed a friendship, which there's nothing wrong with that. I really thought that with the cameras being off, that maybe Jasmina would have felt something for Mike. But you know what? At the same time, you think about it like this: physical attraction sometimes doesn't happen instantaneously. It can happen over a course of weeks or months, whatever. I'm thinking about my own situation. Anyway, let's not talk about me. What what I was thinking was that when the cameras were off, that perhaps that she would feel something. But you know what? She didn't feel anything. For some reason, Mike didn't turn her on. I think he's a good looking guy. I think he too is a great catch in the sense that he knows how to put himself out there and how to make a woman feel special and beautiful. And he did that for Jasmina. I'm sorry that it didn't work out for them, but you know what? If they can be the best of friends, then they still got something out of it at the end of the day. So you know what? Even though married at first sight doesn't work for all the couples, and last week or the week before, I think it was, no, last week, when everybody was claiming they all wanted to be together and it was a big boohoo fest, and I wasn't impressed at all. At the end of the day, it doesn't mean that everything is going to work out thereafter. They made their decision, but here we are with the reunion. Mike and Jasmina decided really not to stay together. Moving on. Before we move on to Steve and Noi, I want to talk about a new product that I just launched on Surfbox. It is called the Wish Jar series, and I'm so excited about this. It was inspired by a friend of mine who had suggested maybe you should put like some things in a jar and kind of make it like cool where somebody could reuse the jar. And I'm like, that's a good idea. So the series is, it has a small candle inside. Well, first, let me just say the series consists of different things in the jar, and it's on surfbox.com. So, this one is the love jar. Now, it's not necessarily a jar where you're trying to acquire love, but you can use it for that. It can also be great for love of self, working on yourself, meditation, being good to yourself. This is a great jar. It comes with a red candle, rose petals. It comes with a crystal quartz. And all of the crystals are genuine, not like the bullshit that you see on TikTok. Because I see a lot of stuff on TikTok, and people are buying cheap stuff and they're not buying genuine crystals. I actually buy from a popular wholesale. I think they're like one of the top 10 on the list, probably number two, or number one. But this is a rose quartz, and I'm not sure how much the camera will capture because I have that blur effect in the background. But these crystals are big. They also come with a variety of stones inside, and it's inside this nice little bag. And it does come with a little piece of jewelry crystal. I forget what they call it, like not cosmetic, but kind of like that costume crystal kind of a thing. So this is the love, and there's a parchment paper inside where you can write your wishes or request, and you can light your candle, and you can light it in the jar, whatever it is that you want to use the jar for. It's very, very cool. Other jar is the uh spirit, like the mind and spirit jar, and everything is purple because purple signifies reflection of self and spirit and peace and calm. And it's the same way with the white, clarity and peace. So these are all the jars. And then, of course, we have the money jar, which everyone loves. You can buy all four of them or each one. Shipping is free for the time being. So I would suggest get your butt to servebox.com and pick up your jar. Now let's talk about Steve and Noi. Not surprise, spoiler, Steve and Noi are still together. I really, really believe, dare I say this, that the experts got it right. And you know what? Going back to Alyssa was saying at some point when they were replaying like video, how she was talking about Chris being an asshole and asking her, did she want to speak to any of the experts? And she was like, no, I hate them too. Believe me, Alyssa, I understand. I'm with you, girl, because sometimes I look at these people and I'm like, do they even know what they're talking about? There was a riddle that my friend told me yesterday. What do you call a medical student that barely passes the doctor's exam? I'm not going to tell you the answer because that's for another day and another time. But it goes to show you that these people that calls themselves experts on the shows, like Dr. Pepper Schwartz has been on this show from the beginning. I'm not sure at what point Pastor Cal and Dr. Viviana came on because I had stopped watching. It's kind of like the point of disgust, and then people were coming back. Marabelle, are you watching Married at First Sight? And I'm like, I'm gonna get sucked back in. So sure enough, I got sucked back in and then some. And you know what? I'm really enjoying it because this is really my basis. I love talking about relationships. I love talking about different aspects of relationships and communication. I think it's important to understand that when it comes to all types of relationships, we all need to keep learning. It's not a matter of like the dude that I was talking about in my article, where he just lumped everyone, all women, as trifling and toxic. There's something wrong with that dude that he needs to sort out for himself, because to speak on behalf of all men, that's not even a good thing to do. Think of the men who are happily married and love being with their wives. He's probably jealous of that, among other things that he's probably not getting right either. You can read my article on that. So, like I said before, Steve and Noi are still together. And I think the problems that they were enduring during the season as everything was going on, it wasn't like problems that weren't fixable. It was things that can be fixed, like Noi going on social media and putting up these posts like she's talking about Steve, but then she's saying, oh, it wasn't about you. Just don't. Like, don't put anything on social media on about your relationship, whether you're having issues or not. I have been known to put like cryptic messages up as well, but the fact of the matter is, to just be outright and say really nasty and disgusting things is just a no. Like, don't air your dirty laundry on social media. So I think that those issues can be fixed with Noi not posting on social media and really having a heart to heart with Steve. If she has issues about him not working or what have you, and from what they alluded to is that Steve has some money put away. And I remember a while back on social media, somebody said, has somebody seen Steve's apartment? So Steve is not hurting for money. I understand where Steve is coming from. If he feels like, oh, am I working only to support Noi so that when she gets pregnant and she has children and she wants to be a stay at home mom, I'm the one busting my ass here. And then what is she going to do? Complain that he's not home enough or that he's not there to take care of the children? There has to be some kind of a balance here. Her sister, Sriracha, fabulous. We love her, but she needs to put a lid on it. No, no, no. Sriracha, stay out of their relationship. It's great when family members are protective. There's nothing wrong with that. However, there are some family members that don't have your best interest in your love life. I call her. There's some people that just will tell you, yeah, he's not interested in you like that, or he doesn't want a commitment with you. And you're like sitting back there like, well, what did I do? Like, am I really that terrible? It's not good for the self-esteem, people. Like I said, while Sriracha has her best interest for her sister, The thing is that she needs to take a step back and stay out of Steve and Noy's relationship. With Noy not talking about it on social media, talking about what she's going through with Steve, and basically Steve reassuring her, like, hey, you know what? For whatever the situation is, we can work this out and everything is going to be fine. Yes, we all like to feel secure in the sense that we want a partner who's working, that we don't have to worry about money or finances. That makes every good sense in the world. The fact remains that it's their relationship, it's their finances. It's not like they're feeding other people. They just have to be concerned about keeping a roof over their head, making sure that they have good health insurance for their children, and they can take care of their own and they don't have to look outside of that, because it's not fun when you have to do something like that. But you know what, there are some people who have met hard times and sometimes they have to look outside of that. But if Steve and Noy are in a good financial position, nobody else around them needs to be in their business. So I'm glad that Steve and Noy are still together and that they can work things out. Kevin did ask, actually, a good question for a change. Will Noy take Steve's last name? Because remember, Steve's last name is Moy. So she would be Noy Moy. I can't with this anymore. Moving on. And finally, let's talk about Mark and Lindsay. I'm not surprised. I was surprised that they decided to stay together when they had the final episode, but I'm not surprised that they're not together, because my whole thing is how long was Mark going to endure this abuse? Now, I don't know if they ever got into the details of what kind of relationship he had with his mom, but it's really disturbing that in the whole time that he and Lindsay were together, it was more arguing than actually communicating with one another. And if they were doing something good for themselves, like Lindsay helping out Mark when he had the bed bug infestation, it was always about Lindsay, look at all the things that I did for you. And this is what I get back in return. Mark, I need you to pay attention to me. I need you to concentrate on me. I need you to focus on me. I need you to focus on what I'm doing. Hi, Lindsay. In case you didn't know, you were supposed to be in a relationship with Mark. She talked a lot of shit about how much she loved him, about he was the one. But then at the end of the day, when Kevin Frazier asked, are you still together? What does she say? Absolutely not. And it was so crass the way she came off, because you thought that she was going to say, absolutely, of course. No, she said the reverse, and still sitting there chastising Mark. Why Mark put up with it for so long, other than having some video footage for television? I think it's just awful to be with somebody who basically is not a good person to you. The things that she said on television, the remarks that she's made about his lack of intimacy or his lack, I don't know. I don't care. That's not the whole point. The whole point is that why are you displaying this dirty laundry? Just like I said before, while Noi wasn't displaying this dirty laundry of what was going on intimate in her bedroom, one of the things I said in the beginning of the show, I mean, not me. Oh boy, let's start all over again. One of the things that was said in the beginning of the show was that I believe that Noy had shared some personal information to Lindsay, and then Lindsay ran with that. And you know what? The thing is, these couples are in a unique situation where they're sharing about what's going on, and who best will understand would be the next person that's in that same situation. So they get to share with one another, talk about what's going on, talk about their feelings, and of course, share with the experts on whatever is lacking in the relationship. Because these are arranged marriages through a psychological test, however it is that it works out, that they find this pairing. And like I said, I looked up the statistics a while ago. Probably like 32% of the marriages, and we're talking about what, 14 seasons? 32% out of 14 seasons. That's not a very good number for a success rate when you're pairing two strange people together and you want to see if it works. It is an experiment. It will always be an experiment. They already have the new season out coming in July, and I'm going to watch that because, like, why not? Lindsay makes this comment about how she moved to San Diego and she's dating and she's just living the time of her life. Well, good for you, Lindsay. I mean, you were a terrible person from beginning to end. You were terrible to Mark. You were terrible probably to Elijahuan. You were terrible to Katina. You were gossiping about Noi. And I'm dying to know what happened next week, because I don't know if something was going on between Alyssa and Mark. There's something that's going to be uncovered next week, and I am definitely going to be watching for sure. And I will say this: if Mark and Alyssa found that they were a better pairing, if this is what Alyssa was looking for, then more power. I don't think that Lindsay should get mad over that. She didn't treat Mark right in the first place. It was all about her. And I don't know who she's dating, but they need to look out. Anyway, that's all I got for Married at First Sight. I have a lot of writing to do. I know Real Housewives of Beverly Hills came back. I want to talk about Dorit and the experience that she had with the home invasion, which was absolutely awful. Then, of course, we have Orange County and Atlanta and New Jersey. Well, OC and New Jersey finish, but I want to wrap up those thoughts there because I want to talk about Emily and the other chick, Gina, like how useless they are. And social media is a trip. You have some people that are for Emily and Gina and against Shannon and vice versa. So I'm going to be highlighting things on articles on Marabelle Blue Unfiltered. I probably won't do videos on it, and I probably won't do videos on New Jersey as well. But I will definitely write articles on that, and of course, Atlanta and Beverly Hills. So, with all that being said, I want to thank you for taking the time out and watching this video. And I should have said this from the beginning, but I'll probably put like a sign or something. Today's my birthday, and I want to thank everyone for all of your love and birthday wishes. It's been an amazing day, and I want to thank everybody so much for wishing me a happy birthday. How old am I? Well, you'll never know. Some people know, some people don't know. I'll keep that to myself. Let's just say I am old enough, smart enough, beautiful enough not to put myself on Married at First Sight. And with all that being said, always remember, be good to yourself, be good to each other, and most importantly, take care of you. Bye, everybody.